When you're ugly, nothing matters. You don't have to live up to any beauty standards. You're not trying to impress anyone with how you look. You don't care about the glances you might get in public because you've become stronger than all of that. When you're ugly, you're able to be who you are, despite people's views of you. Because their opinions are nothing. They're like grass under your feet. Except, that's not true. Not entirely. Hello everyone, my name is AruvaChan, and if you are enjoying my video so far, please make sure to leave a like, and if you are enjoying me, then to subscribe. You can tell yourself that you are above their words. You can say that you are stronger than the opinions of them, of others. And you can reassure yourself, and others can reassure you, that you are in fact beautiful on the inside. But sometimes that's not enough. I've always tried to surround myself with people who are inherently good. And a lot of them were normal, appearance-wise, but once you got to know them, they were so much more beautiful. And there's something about loving someone that makes every fault in them seem like a fun quirk. You can look everyone's bads over. You can overlook them when their goods are so amazing. And I always thought it was different with beautiful people. I grew up being bullied for being different, being ugly, being fat, for just being genuinely who I was and not apologizing for it. And most often, it was the people who I thought were cute or pretty or handsome. It's the people I always viewed as beautiful. But how could I blame them? I was an ugly duckling, and they were all beautiful ducks. I never saw myself as somebody who would be admired for her looks. Because up until now, I've always been ugly. I've always been the ugly friend. My best friend, the first friend I made when I moved here, was drop dead gorgeous. She did her makeup every single day and dressed in fancy dressed in fancy clothes and dresses, and she worked it. She ruled at it. And I admired her, and I genuinely thought she was funny. So we became fast friends. And it helped that we were also related. I was the smart one of the group. At least that's what I had decided for ourselves, for myself. She was the pretty one. I was the smart one. And we were both funny in our own ways. For a really long time, I was really content with that. She told me about her problems, mostly boy-related, and I would give her the sage advice that she needed to hear. But I was jealous. Jealous of her bubbly attitude, of her pretty face, of the way she could hold an entire room's attention, just because of who she was. I was jealous of the way that she made people like her. Guys seemed to flock to her. Even when we were younger, she was a very charismatic person, so that did help. But in reality, they were all drawn to her looks. People would remember her when we went places, and when I went to those places alone, they wouldn't even remember who I was. It really makes you feel like you're not important. Men would come up to her when we were out and hit on her, and I would just sit there observing. They wouldn't even look in my direction, and this made me immensely jealous. Why couldn't I be pretty too? Why didn't they think I was pretty? I know the answer now, but back then, I just felt ugly. And when I was alone, it was normal. People would talk to me if they needed help, or if they were just being friendly, but I felt like no one ever saw me. Not really. When I went to college, I made friends with another pretty girl. She had a tiny figure. She was very bubbly, albeit not very smart. So she was always bouncing up and down around the rooms. And guys really liked her. They would wink at her in the halls and ask her how she was doing, even if they didn't know her. They liked what they saw. Versus me, a short, round-haired, very short, round, short-haired girl who looked like a boy, who didn't wear any makeup and hardly talked. I don't blame them for not looking at me, but I understood why they didn't like me. I did eventually try to make myself more appealing. I started wearing nicer clothes, I wore makeup, I smiled widely, and laughed loudly. I made friends that I didn't want. It felt fake. Everything felt fake. I felt fake. So eventually, I stopped. Makeup felt so unnatural for me. And it made me look like, well, not myself. And I didn't like it. So I just tried to be nicer and more outgoing. I wanted people to like me, not something that I had made up. People did like me, and I started to come into my own. I dyed my hair pink, moved home from college, and I started wearing clothes that I thought were cute. I stopped thinking about how others might see me, and I tried to see myself. I wanted to see myself. I wanted to see myself as who I wanted to be. And I felt pretty. For the first time in my life, I really felt pretty. And it was because I changed who I was. I changed who I was to how I wanted to look and who I wanted to be. And it wasn't a revolution in my life. A lot of people still gave me weird looks, now for a different reason. And I still hear comments sometimes. But mostly people enjoy the colored hair, and they even come up to me and talk about it. I've definitely come into my own looks, but I'm still not beautiful. I don't have long, flowing blonde hair, and I don't wear the most beautiful dresses. I'm not a size 3. People don't wink or stare at me when I'm in public, and sometimes it still hits me hard. And it hits me the hardest when I hang out with anybody who is good looking. My best friend at the moment is a ridiculously handsome guy. People will come up to him and compliment his hair or his clothes or his tattoos. Anything. They will compliment anything to chat with him. And I get to see how they act around him. People admire him, and they really enjoy that he's an actual nice person. Nice and beautiful. But because he is beautiful and nice, people will look to him when they want to talk. And I'm in the shadows. Because everybody wants his attention, his approval. And they don't even give me the time of day. And it makes me feel like an inconvenience. These beautiful people battling for his attention. And then there's me. Not quite pretty enough to be on his level. The unique friend. The not quite ugly one. I went to a carnival with him the other day. Him and another girl. Who was also pretty. And when we were walking around, the carnies would try to get us into their booth, and they figured him and her were a couple, they would say, "Hey, buddy, why don't you get your girlfriend a stuffed animal," or something along those lines. And it was because they were both attractive people. And then there's me, the obvious third wheel, because I'm definitely not attractive to be dating anyone as beautiful as them. And I hate to say it, but that kind of stuff gets to me. It really does. A carny said it was hot outside, and I said me too, as, I don't even know, a joke maybe? And he said, "I hope you're talking about temperature." Just soul-crushing stuff. Luckily, I live too much in my own little world, and I love myself too much to really let it get to me. But I was more astounded that he thought he could judge me like that. Because I am working every single day to love myself. Working every single day to accept the flaws that I have. To believe that I am more than just an ugly duckling. More than just the ugly friend. And I know I'll eventually grow out of the ugly duck mentality. But it's hard to get through it. I will always be an ugly duckling, even if I someday become a swan. I may come to accept my own beauty, but I will never live up to normal beauty standards. I hated when I had blonde hair. I hated wearing makeup. I never liked heels. I wasn't a fan of being like everybody else. I never was good at it. But I am a swan. I'm my own kind of swan. I'm my own kind of person. And I'm slowly growing to love myself, no matter how ugly I may seem some days. I always look in the mirror and see somebody who I want to be. Even though I've grown into myself, I'm nowhere close to being done yet. And even though I enjoy myself and I enjoy how I look, I will never know what it's like to be beautiful. Not in the way everyone says, anyway. I will never be what everybody wants me to be. I will never be who everybody wants. Because I am me. I am genuinely me. I live my life for myself and no one else. And as I live my life, people find me. People who admire my looks, my quirks, my art, my music, my moods. And I let them in, no matter what they look like. Because I want to be surrounded by people who are genuinely themselves. And I want to be as genuine as possible. I want to be the reason somebody can say that they feel beautiful. I want to be the person who sets that example, who compliments other people, who makes you feel good about yourself, even when I don't feel so good about myself. I want you to feel like I can be that person. Because I am beautiful in my own way. And I can see beauty in others that they may not be able to see. And they can see my beauty. Being genuine is hard. And it's hard to talk about your feelings. It's hard to do anything if you're not used to it. It's hard to express yourself. Making videos for me is very hard. Because everything is laid out on the table. There's nothing closed anymore. But I want that. You should let others know. Because for all you know, they could be ugly ducklings too. And they might even need your kind words. I try to live my life with that mindset. I asked my mom just a couple questions, just to see what she would say, because I told her I felt like all my life I was the ugly duckling. And I asked her if she ever saw me like that, and of course, in true mom fashion, she said, "No, I never saw you like that." So I said, "Is that because you're my mom?" And she said, "No, you always had beautiful big blue eyes and amazingly blonde hair, and I was funny." She said that to me. I was funny. A little 10-year-old girl, bubbly and happy and funny. And she said, maybe if we hadn't have moved so many times, I would have been fine, because somewhere along the lines something happened and I got less courageous, less outgoing, less confident, and there wasn't anything I could really do about that. And I'm slowly building that up. Slowly, ever so slowly. No one can take that away from me. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping and listening to my story. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to leave a like. It really, really helps spread all of my stuff to new people. And if you are enjoying what I do, make sure to subscribe, because I make a new video every Friday. And if you really are enjoying me and you'd like to talk to me, join my Discord. There's a link for that down in the in the description. All right? Bye!